Hello friends, and welcome. My name is Britt, and I make journaling, book review, and art videos. And I am coming to you today to say that I redid my 2025 planner setup because I don't like the first one that I did, even though I just put a video out of that setup last week. So in this first little section, I'm just going to explain what happened with that and why I switched over. And then the second section of the video will be voiceover video of me setting it up so you can see what I did. Let's get into it. So originally, this was the type of planner that I had. This is just a dot grid bullet journal type journal. That's how I was doing it. I was doing things in the style of bullet journaling, the artistic bullet journaling that you see online. And I will still be doing this, just in a different notebook. So I would do doodles like that, or I would do collages like this. So this is what my style looks like. And then that was working fine for me. And then I decided that for this year, because I already had this notebook, and I am a big proponent of using the things that you already have in your house. So this is a black page notebook with no lines or grids or anything. I did this yearly setup and I like it. It's fine. There's no problem here. But as I've been trying to set up January, I've tried it like 3 different ways and I hate all of them. And I could have just kept going with this just for the sake of making videos and not actually use it, but what sense would that make? So I decided, okay, we're not going to use this. So since I didn't have any more empty notebooks left in my house, I was going to have to buy a new notebook anyway. So I could have bought another one of these, just like white dot grid notebooks. But since I needed to buy something new, I could buy anything, right? So I decided to get one of these. I caved and I got a Hobonichi. So if you're not familiar, Hobonichi is an extremely popular brand of planners, dated planners. This is an A6 original, so it is a small A6 size, and there is a full page for every day of the year. And then there are some monthly calendars in here, and then a little index section at the beginning. So why did I get this teeny tiny little thing? First of all, I am going to do it in the exact same style that I was doing this before. So the art and stuff will be the same as this. I am not going to switch over to putting a ton of cute stickers like a lot of Hobonichi people do. That is not my style. So the style is not going to change in this planner. And also, my reading journal is still going to be exactly the same as it was. That's my main artistic journal, so don't worry about that. My main videos of my channel, my reading journal, nothing's changing there. This is just for the planner. And the reason I got this particular small size is that in here, I had these kind of weeklies set up. And in here, this is the size that you get for a single day. And this is the size I had in here for a single day. So it's like almost 4 times the size. And I would like to start journaling a little bit more this coming year. So instead of only putting tasks and appointments, which I will still do like over here, I want to actually write a little bit about the day or put a picture in if I did something that day, just to keep a little bit of memories in this one. So since I wanted to start doing that anyway, I needed a little bit more space for the day. However, if I got the big size of this guy, the thought of having a huge page like that big that I need to fill in every single day when I've never done this before was very intimidating. So I got this little one. This page size is much more doable in my mind. So that's why I chose this little teeny tiny one. So hopefully I like it. If I fill up this entire thing and it works for me, I might get the bigger one next year. So that's my plan. We'll see how it goes. I might not like this either, and I might end up going back to this one. We'll just see how it goes. But for now, this is what I'm working with. I like what I did so far in it. So we will move over to that footage of how I set this up. All right, let's go. Hello again. So this is what the naked Hobonichi looks like when you first get it. And then you can see along the edge here that each of the months has a different color assigned to it. So for now, what I'm going to do is try to match up my spreads to the color that the Hobonichi has assigned. And I'm going to decorate the front first. So these come plain like this, and then Hobonichi has all of these very fancy and beautiful covers that you can buy. I'm not going to pay that much money for a cover, however, so I'm going to make my own. I wanted to use my favorite craft paper to have a nice texture on the outside, so I just cut out this craft sticker paper to the size of the cover. I'm not going to go over that binding that you can see because it sticks up farther than the rest of the cover. So we're just going to line her up and then stick her on both sides here. And to protect the cover, once I finished decorating it, I just purchased a cheap clear vinyl cover that'll just go over this and protect the outside, and it won't add much bulk. So I will do that a little bit later on. Apologies, you are going to see some inconsistent lighting in this video. I did this setup across 2 days, so I started it at night and then I continued it the following morning, so that's why the lighting is a little bit weird. For the yearly part of this planner, I wanted the style to be very calming, a little bit minimalist, not too busy. So I'm going to look through this washi paper that I have. And I have different little booklets that I got from Amazon, so I'll link that in the description box. But I wanted to pick out a fruit illustration for the cover. I ended up picking this illustration of oranges for the cover, and I love any kind of botanical illustration that looks a little bit old-fashioned, so I really like this one. And for the back cover, I used the other citrus illustration that I had chosen. For the title, I decided to make it very small so that, again, I keep that kind of quiet and calm feeling for the outside of this book. And I'm just doing some very small typewriter font for 2025, and I am using my Sakura Pigma Micron fineliner in order to do that. And here's what the outside looks like with the clear vinyl cover. Here's a look at how I decorated the monthly calendar using some red stationery that I have so that it matches that January colors that Hobonichi has assigned. This washi tape right here is not part of the spread, that's just to censor out some people's names. And then up here at the top, I covered up the days of the week with some craft paper and used some red dot stickers to decorate it a little bit more. And as you can see, I will also be using an ocean theme for this month. Moving on to the title page for January. So these Hobonichi planners do have this blank page at the beginning of each of the months, and that way I can still do a cover page the same way that I did in my bullet journal last year. So for this month, I'm doing a fairly minimal collage. It's just 3 pieces, pink craft paper, some brown craft paper on top, and then a little washi tape sticker that's of red coral. I really like that I have this option to do these cover pages in the Hobonichi because I really didn't want to give that up from my bullet journaling. I really enjoy doing a theme and a cover page each month, so I'm really happy that I can still do that in this particular journal. And don't mind the book that's behind there. I need to find something better to prop up the page when I'm doing video recording, but all I had at the time was a novel that fit, so that's what I'm using. For the January title, I'm just using a very simple script font, nothing fancy. I'm just using a felt tip permanent pen for this. Next, I'm just doing some minimal decoration on the first day of January, just so you can kind of see what I'm planning to do throughout the month. And these are from that same booklet that you saw earlier, the different booklets that are rectangular that have washi in them, and I just cut out these shells so that they look like stickers. And then I'm also adding a couple little dots here as well to finish things off. And as I go through each day throughout the month, I'll add in some of these things every once in a while, and I also plan on doing some sketching and doodling. And then this is just a little habit tracker sticker that I made in Canva and then printed with my thermal printer that I can color in if I've done the activity. Now we're flipping back to the front of this planner, and this is the kind of monthly index area that I'm not going to use for that purpose. And so I saw online that a lot of people use this for their habit trackers or their sleep trackers, all those things. And since I was planning on having these yearly trackers when I did the original setup of my bullet journal for 2025, I figured I would use these for that purpose. So I'm putting down some more craft paper and another fruit illustration, so it kind of follows the theme from the front cover, since this is not a monthly, this is a yearly kind of thing. And then I'm using that simple script font once again here. I wanted to track my sleep for the year and then a couple of other habits and health things. So above the line, I'll just have a regular tracker where I'll put a dot on the day if I did the thing. And then below the line, I'll have a little dot graph of how many hours I slept. And because I'm putting those little tracker icon stickers that I made on every single one of the daily pages, I'm hoping that reminds me to actually track these things and record them, since I'm notoriously bad at that. Now we're flipping back to the daily pages for January, and I'm just adding in a couple more things that I made in Canva and printed with my thermal printer. So I just used that typewriter font again to print out the holiday labels, and I used the regular American holidays, and then I added in some fun ones as well, like Science Fiction Day, since I read a lot of science fiction. This one is Clean Your Desk Day, since we all need to do that, probably. And then Popcorn Day and Hot Sauce Day. So if I can't think of anything to journal about on those days, I can at least talk about one of those things. Since I'm going to have a different theme and a different look for each of the months, I just printed out the ones that I wanted for January so far, since I'll probably change the font or use a different color, put them in a different place in the next following months. And that wraps things up for the second try of setting up my 2025 planner, and also my setup for the month of January. I hope you enjoyed this setup, even though it's different from what I had been doing in the past. So far, I really like using it, and I think I'll be able to still be creative in a similar way that I was doing in my bullet journal without having to do the tedious part. I hope you'll join me next month when I set up for February in here, and you can also join me for all my reading journal videos and book review videos as well. I hope you're staying healthy and happy. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!